the investors are going to pitch and not the startups. We're going to have a reverse pitch, and this will be, in a way, at least for me, something really exciting. The whole investor pitch is put together from seasoned startup entrepreneurs who have seen all sorts of investors, and it's moderated by Christopher Mott, who is the founder of Global Venture Forum in San Francisco, and his nickname is Che, after Che Guevara. Please, Che, come on the stage. Give him a big applause.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Very good.
Stage is yours.
Well, thank you guys. It's a lot of fun, of course, to turn the tables. And so today we're going to turn the tables a little bit, and we're going to have the startups listening to the VCs. For me, as someone who grew up in California and moved to Europe about 8 years ago, to watch the development of the ecosystem in Europe is fantastic. Obviously, there's competition. There are 4 times more startups today than there were 8 years ago. And these guys, in some sense, are some of the gatekeepers because you've got competition for the Series A coming in. However, Estonia is open architecture. Estonia is inviting, and we pioneer things from Estonia. However, when we pioneer, things break. We leave a trail of things that are broken behind us. So my message to everyone in the room here is when you see people pioneering and you see something broken, go fix it and help each other. Because the ecosystem is more than just the individual parts, it's really the sum of everything. So I'd like to invite today our first investor. So we're going to have, actually, let me introduce the startups first. Come on, Rain, come on up to the stage. So we have 3 startups, and you know, the word startup actually, guys, come on, these are the emerging technology companies. They're the future in terms of delivering innovation, and these are tough guys. These are not sort of your typical, you know, early stage, first time. So they're going to ask some difficult questions, and in fact, they're also going to try to choose someone who's a winner. So let me introduce actually the judging panel. So Karoli from Jobbatical, and Tiit Paananen from Pipedrive, and Rain. And I think we'll start with the first pitcher from Atomico. So Teddy, please come up to the stage.
Hi everyone. Should I just kick off?
Go ahead.
Let's do it.
You got 4 minutes.
So it's not much of a deck. I have 1 slide, so bear with me.
And by the way, let me just say, there's 2 rules that you need to understand. Number 1, you may be interrupted by the panelists.
Okay.
Don't think that you're going to have 4 minutes.
Got
the
it.
other thing I'll say is, if you use less time, they'll respect that. So you can use all 4 minutes, but if you use less time, you'll be respected and your points will go up. So just so you know that.
Every tough question and pitching competition is going to come back to me right now. I can see that happening. Anyway, Atomico, we are a VC fund for the most ambitious founders in Europe. We exist to help take great companies to global category winners. And for that mission, we closed the largest single venture fund in Europe at $765 million USD earlier this year, and we're kind of executing on that mission. So, you know, everyone's cash is green, so what's the value proposition from Atomico to our founders? So we say we are built by founders for founders. Our team has a founding mindset and DNA, and actually our team has multiple former operators and entrepreneurs who have built billion-dollar companies in the past. And we've also institutionalized this value add. So we have something called the value creation team. So, you know, there's people on the investment side like myself, but we have former operators on the value creation side, guys from Spotify, Google, Facebook, helping in functional areas from all the way from talent acquisition, growth, marketing, product management, all the kind of key critical scaling points that companies struggle with. And also we have our own people on the ground in China, Japan, Brazil, and the US, because we believe business is global. So we can really help on the ground with new hires, finding those first business partners, or you know, closing the first customers. On the team side, we're headed by Niklas Zenström from Skype fame, and we also have a lot of people from, let's say, Gidan Heinz, our head of talent from Google, Neil Was, who was the former SVP of Global at Uber, or Ben Grohl, who was a growth PM at Facebook and Google, who's worked with 5 different billion user products. So these are the people that are accessible to the founders in an institutionalized value-add platform. Sector-wise, we invest in a lot of things. We've invested in a small business CRM platform. We've invested in a vertical takeoff, vertical landing, electric private jet. So it's a pretty broad spectrum of sectors, anything that's driven by technology. And Series A onboards, so we kind of invest in a scaling stage, and companies that have got their first customers, their first revenues, are kind of proven product market fit, and we're the partner to take things global and really take things further from the initial MVP. In terms of our Estonia connection was one of the questions in the list. So obviously the Skype link is very strong. We have a lot of former Skypers in the team. Pipedrive is one of our recent investments, which is something that many know. But overall, we're just like very excited about Estonia. We see that it's a market with great talent, very supportive government in terms of policies, and also a great tech and vibrant tech scene, as is evidenced today. Overall, we're just very excited to be here as Atomico, and we want to find the next generation of successful companies. We want to find the next Skype or Pipedrive or TransferWise, and I firmly believe that the biggest tech companies out of Tallinn and anywhere are still to be founded. So it's the most exciting time to be investing in technology today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good, very good. Okay, so judges, questions, please.
First question. Atomico is most known by its founder, Niklas Zennström, obviously. And my question is, how much access and in what way to the startups that you invest in have to Niklas's time?
Yeah, that's a good question. So obviously for us, it's important that we're not just a Niklas Zennström investment firm, but we build what I call an institutional platform. So we try to make a point that value is not just about him. Obviously, he is very accessible in terms of, he mentors founders. He's kind of great at coaching people, and he's actually very accessible. He's probably the hardest working guy in the whole team. So our founders definitely.
Can you give us an example of how he has helped a particular company in your portfolio?
Yeah. So I mean, in some cases he's more involved. He's actually the primary board member in some companies, but in many other, he's for example with Pipedrive, he doesn't join the board meetings, but we have a strategy workshop. He comes to Tallinn. We sit down with the whole team for the whole day. So it's kind of a very hands-on thing. We don't believe that there's some certain magic that you work with somebody for an hour and you somehow transform the trajectory of a business. It's just about doing work together and getting to the weeds of the operational stuff, and that's how people help each other.
So you yourself were a founder, right?
Yes.
So what was the most or the biggest mistake you did during the journey of an entrepreneur with your own company?
It's a hard question. There's so many mistakes because I always say it's the most expensive school I went through. I think one of the biggest mistakes was, when we started out in Finland, it was like 2006, and all this like entrepreneurship hype hadn't reached this level at that point. We're undergrad. We're kind of embarrassed to tell our peers that we are doing a startup because everyone else is doing consulting and whatever. So I think the mistake was we didn't like set our kind of bars high enough in terms of hiring people, in terms of our ambition of going to customers. So I think that if I do it again, and having seen what I've seen now with great founders, I would just like set the bar much higher on every junction of the business.
All right, so full disclosure, I'm talking to my investor here. If you have to name one thing you hate in your job, what would it be?
I mean, that's an easy question. I hate the fact that you have to say no so many times. You see so many cool things and like amazing people, amazing businesses, but you can only invest in like a small handful of them. So you basically have to say no to like great things that you would love to be part of, but for whatever reason you just can't.
I was watching Niklas Zennström giving a speech at the Slush conference this fall, and he was talking about that in founders, he's looking for the people who have failed before and who have failed many times because failure teaches you something, and he's suspicious of the people and companies who have never failed. So what is Atomico's biggest failure?
That is a good question. My comps guy is going to kill me after this. But I think I don't think there's like a single kind of like failure, but I think it's a process of kind of pivoting and evolving. Like all startups have pivoted, right? So I think a lot of the work I do day to day when I meet people in the Nordics or whatever, where I spend a lot of time, people are like, oh, like Atomico is a late stage fund. You guys only invest like very late stages, and that's actually something today we are a multi-stage fund. We invest on Series A. We invested in pre-revenue companies. So I think it's moving more like the pivot that it has taken us a while to find the strategy that we really want to do, and it's pretty much taken us 10 years from the start, and now we feel that we finally arrived and found our product market fit and scalable business model.
Guys, I'm going to have to interrupt here because we need to move on. We're going to have some chances for Q&A at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. That was interesting, right? That was interesting. I mean, I really like that. You really get some interesting ideas, but we're going to move on here. So now we have Andris Berzins from Change Ventures.
Hello, everyone. So we should have some slides, so we can flip to the next one. You've seen the logo. So my name's Andris Berzins, the managing partner in Change Ventures. We're a brand new seed fund coming into the market, based in the Baltic states. And so big difference for us, we're a local team here. It's myself and two partners in Estonia. I'm based in Riga. We're focused on startups in the Baltic states and Baltic founders around the world. And one of the reasons being local can really help is we get hands-on involved in the companies. All of us have a lot of experience in running startups, both success and failure, and so we can help with all sorts of things around pricing, markets, hiring, finances, and everything in practical life. And so the stage we're looking at is pre-product market fit, early seed. There's lots of difficult things, challenges to overcome, and we want to roll up our sleeves and help with that. At the same time, we have a very deep network in the US and Western Europe. We're especially looking for startups that could go to these markets early on. And we have a lot of investor contacts for follow-ons, corporate contacts for both customers and partners. And we're also different in that our fund will be registered in the US, and we can invest globally. So we don't care whether you started out registering your startup in Tallinn, Vilnius, Riga, or Delaware. Doesn't matter to us. We're also looking to do entrepreneur-friendly terms, Silicon Valley style, and be ready to help. So I've done 2 minutes, and I'm done with the pitch. Feel free with questions.
Thank you, Andris. Almost every investor I've seen has a lot of those things, like
Sure.
We have deep network, we have entrepreneur-friendly terms. So what do entrepreneur-friendly terms in particular mean for you guys?
So there's a few things in particular we see here in the Baltic states in terms of local investors. One of the things is a liquidation preference. So we see a lot of sometimes angels and local VCs look for more than 1x liquidation preference, and we think that is not appropriate. It basically it makes the cap table dirty right up front, and so it comes back at you. And every
do
following
liquidation
round.
preference?
Sorry?
You don't do liquidation preference, or?
Sorry? I can't hear.
You don't do liquidation preference?
No, we do no more than 1x.
1x participating?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on the terms?
So I think that's probably the main one we see. Generally, I mean, we see sometimes the percent share that some of the local investors are looking for is such that in later rounds you can't raise any more money. So we want to be reasonable up front. And if we think it's not going to work as a deal for that startup, then we don't want to mess up their cap table either.
So Andris,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken, you were an investor and advisor for Infogram.
Yes.
So what is the one advice that you wish you would have given to Infogram, but you didn't?
I would say it's to look for the larger paying customers earlier. So they were very long time going with a freemium model, with a sort of a consumer style adoption model, and only later found some of the larger customers, sort of enterprise sales style customers that could support larger contracts. And so I think if they had done that earlier, the success would have been even bigger. It was very successful anyway, but it could have been better.
Yeah, Andris, thanks. Tell me a little bit more about your team and how many times you have taken saunas or been drunk together.
So my two partners on the investment side, Rait and Yrjö Ojasaar, we know each other fairly well. We haven't done enough saunas. We're planning to do a lot more of them.
Since you are a new fund, then a lot of the pitch that you give to startups has to be related to your previous experience. So
Yep.
what do you consider to be your team's biggest success story so far?
So I think they're individual, they're different. So my involvement has been on the executive team, in the early team, in two startups that have been sold for over $100 million. My partners have been both investors and advisors to a number of companies that have exited well. They've started software companies, other kind of companies. So we have a range of experience, and we also have myself more on the business side. Rait has more technical experience, and Yrjö has more legal experience. So we also complement on the various skills like that.
Okay, can you hear me? All right, very nice. Thank you for that extra
Thank you.
2 minutes. We appreciated that. Very good. So next I'd like to welcome Marzena. Where's Marzena? Yay, okay, Marzena Bielecka from Experior Fund in Warsaw. Please, you have the floor.
Hi there. Actually, my name is Marzena Bielecka, but you know, English pronunciation is also okay. I'm a founder and a managing partner of probably one or the only one in the world VC fund which has been funded and is run by females. My partner actually is here. She was on the stage in the previous panel, but this is not the most important thing. Why you should consider us potentially as the investor to your startup company. We went through the fundraising process 3 years ago when we funded the fund. Pretty tiny from the global perspective, it's 20 million euro. But due to the limitation from our biggest LP, which is a Swiss government, we can invest only into the companies which are incorporated in Poland. It doesn't mean that our companies don't go global. Our companies are global, and we also took this advantage to consider different markets and different direction, not necessarily going west, but also going east. One of our companies, new portfolio companies, started their business originally in Hong Kong and now in Shanghai. We invest into the companies with obviously talented people. There are a lot of talented people here on the stage and as the audience. What we invest in is the team, their strategy, and obviously the business which can be scalable. We invest into ICT companies. The majority of our companies are technology companies. We have at the moment 13 companies in our portfolio. And what would be the connection, I hope not only would, but will be connection with Estonia and also Baltic countries, is our new fund. We are just in the process of fundraising, so we'll be, I hope, first closing by the end of this year. Obviously, I can't disclose the details. Our focus would be like continuation of the current fund, general RCT, strong technology guys, with not guys, women and men, still guys, but with CE focus. So this is where we are. We have almost all the money invested from our first fund. The next fund, I hope, will be available from next year. Where we are strong, I would like to highlight this, we are really hands-on. I know that every single fund is saying that we are hands-on, we are working with the founders closely, but this is what we really do. We have operational skills, we have fundraising skills, we are on the disposal of our portfolio companies. I would say that we are service company for them. When they need someone to hire, HR, this is our strong element of our fund. We have, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, we have 28 investors, private individuals, entrepreneurs from different countries. We have a network of our entrepreneurs, LPs, from United States, Western Europe, and in Poland. So this is us, Experior Venture Fund. I hope you like my presentation, and I open for the questions.
Thank you. It was a very, very good and thorough presentation. You are a very successful fund in Poland. Why would a company from Estonia or Latvia or Finland choose you as an investor over the other ones?
I think we have similar talents as you have, but we are the bigger country. So you have, I don't know how many exactly people live here. We have almost 40 people.
So for market access?
Market access, access to the talented people. Probably everybody knows that Poland became a hub of the global technology companies. They have service companies in Poland from United States. And the truth is that the cost of the labor is much lower. So this is also something which to be considered. And I think that this is a good place to start scaling your business, not necessarily already, in other Western European countries.
Why did you go to venture business, or venture capital?
Oh.
You were a CEO before.
This is a difficult one. I used to be an investment banker for many years. Then I started the business, investment banking boutique with Kinga, who is here. We work with private equity. We raise money for the companies. We did a cross-border transaction from different countries. We had our own business, and we were very deeply involved in building the strategy, helping companies to fundraising. Then we have also our own startups which were successful, less successful. We went through the entrepreneurship also, experience. At a certain moment, we look at the stage like a landscape Poland. Poland was always full of entrepreneurial people, and we decided that there is no room for more private equity, but there is a room for a local VC fund with the experience which will help the companies to grow up and to scale the business.
Yeah, my question is about your involvement in your investments. So you said that you're very hands-on, you can help in basically any topic. Where do you draw the line? Because my experience is that when you leave a little bit autonomy to the company, it has actually much higher chances to be successful. So where do you draw the line?
Some of the companies, some of the founders appreciate work with us. Some hates, our involvement. But we believe that you can't scale the business with processes, with operations in line with the expectation of next investors, or at the blue stage there was discussion today about exits, and there was a story from one of the entrepreneurs who went through the selling process, and he said you have to make sure that all the papers that you have in place for the due diligence in the future. But paperwork is not the most important. I think where we really help the companies is to check whether the strategy is really okay. So we bring, the guys with different areas, because for us it's not so easy as for the global funds with, vertical, focus. We are more broad, and because we are more broad, we need more experts with whom we work. Some of them are our LPs. Some experience and expertise we have inside the fund. There are 10 of us, and we are bringing new guys with whom we work in the past for the new fund. So I hope that there will be at least a significant number of our companies who would appreciate the work we do with them.
Very good, very good.
Thank you so much, Marzena.
Thank you, Marzena. Very good. Next, Jan. Where's Jan? Jan Borgstädt from Join Capital from Berlin.
Hi, guys. Hi, I'm Jan. I'm one of the 3 founders of Join Capital. I'm an entrepreneur, like many of you. I've built businesses before, and this is my 3rd company. It's a venture fund. We're very passionate. We're all entrepreneurs, and we realize that being an investor, you can be part of many more success stories than if you just build one company. And so we can multiply basically our passion. So basically I am in many ways like you. The only thing is that my business is to invest money into other companies, make them big and grow, and then sell them together with the founders. And that's why I'm very interested in being aligned with the founders. So for us it's important that we always have the same interest until the exit. Okay, why is Join Capital relevant for you? I think we're relevant because we are geography agnostic. So we're based in Berlin, but we like to invest everywhere where we can get with a plane in 3 hours. So sometimes I call ourselves an EasyJet fund, okay? We go there cheap for $50, and for me it's more important to find really good teams than to back teams, for example, in Germany. That doesn't matter for me. I specifically, and my partners believe in the same thing. We specifically think that hubs like Tallinn or Riga or Helsinki are more interesting for us, specifically because we're only investing in B2B companies that can find clients globally. And we experience that founders from countries like France, Germany, and Spain are often building companies for their local markets because they're quite big. They're actually not big enough. So we rather back founders from upcoming hubs who think bigger because their domestic market is just too limited. So I had a lot of meetings yesterday and today, I think in total 15, many of them being in the seed stage. So it's ideal for us because our money goes into scaling marketing and sales. That means our average ticket is €1 million, which helps you hire the first professional salesperson that maybe wasn't on your team. It helps you try different marketing channels that you didn't dare to test because you didn't have any cash. And then specifically, our goal is to bring you up to €100,000 in revenue per month. How do we do that? First of all, as I said, with the cash investment into marketing and sales, but also with our personal involvement. So we are hands-on, but not really in the operations. It's your business. You have to manage it. You know better. But what we help with is where we can open doors to some large clients. Because nothing is more important than getting revenue in that phase that we're investing. Our goal is to get together with you into business meetings, getting the sale done, and then being ready to raise a large Series A. So our money, we call it pre-Series A, helps you to get a bigger Series A at a better valuation. We help you internationalize, and we help you to find key customers that have a positive impact on your marketing and sales, so you can motivate others to trust your solution. That's what we do at Join Capital. Thank you.
So, how many, from your portfolio companies, how many of them have female founders?
I'm sorry? Female founders. Not so many, I must admit. And we're also discussing getting a female partner on board at Join Capital because I think, tech is still very much male-driven, unfortunately, but we don't take the best decisions always. So we were discussing that. We haven't found the right person yet. Obviously, it's quite scarce. We've interviewed someone for us, but she's getting so many offers, so it's kind of difficult. Yeah. So back to your question, I think so far 2 CEOs being female. Yeah. At least something, sorry.
A follow-up, just of
okay.
how many investments do you have altogether? Just
currently 6. Okay. 6, yeah.
You said that the key thing for you is to make sure that as an entrepreneur, previous former entrepreneur, you are very aligned with the founders and your interests are aligned. Yes. So what are you doing differently than other VCs in this regard?
Yeah, so I always ask myself, when we invest, why is the founder actually, taking my money? Why are they doing this? And am I, if I become part of that story, am I in kind of conflict to his personal goals, right? And if we are, for example, if we impose too harsh terms, we'd probably destroy that joint story in the beginning, right? I once had that case that in my previous fund, I took an investment over where actually my predecessor had put in very hard terms. And I came in then as a neutral, but I could never again fix that relationship. It was really broken. There was no trust. And every time I try to, as I said, the founder is running the business. And if you're trying to advise, but there's no trust, then they never take the advice, right? So that was quite difficult. So I think Andres talked about liquidation preference. I think that's a difficult topic, right? I think it's also not smart for early stage investors to get into aggressive with liquidation preference because it's actually cut yourself. Because, like big funds that come after us will want the same thing, right? You broke the seal. And then everybody wants the same thing, and over time the alignment will apart, right? So, I'm sorry.
Can I ask a question? It's important question.
Quick one, all right.
Quickly.
Yes, it's true. It's important.
It's important.
It's important. So, if your fund would be an animal, which
Yes.
animal would it be?
Yeah. So it's an animal, that consists out of different things. It's a turtle, yeah, because we always go our way. It's a fox because we're smart, but it's like a horse because we can carry others with us. So I think there's not just one animal that describes us. Yeah?
Right on.
All right.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Karma. Tommi, you have the stage.
Thanks. I had some slides, yeah. This is the last time I pitched. It wasn't like latitude 59, which some of you guys think that it's north. This was in an event called Polar Bear Pitch on latitude 65. And there was no time limit on the pitching, but you were kind of pitching out of the ice hole. So I was an entrepreneur back then, and now somehow this this VC life is much easier. It's not that cold. So I'm here to talk to you about Karma, and so I'm Tommi Uhari, one of the kind of three founding partners there. We are the same as everybody else, so we basically have an interest for deep technology. We are backed by Skype founding engineers. Jan Tallinn and Ahti Heinola actively advise us. They are from Skype. Many of you know them well here. We've also added kind of a third advisor, Edgar Auslander. He's based in Silicon Valley. He's currently head of research at Oculus. And these guys help us make sure that the things we think are deep tech are really that. We focus on A-round investments. Those for us can be between 1.5 to 3 million. And we are also open to seed when we are really excited about the technology. And one we announced here yesterday was a company called Spectex. So for the support that we offer to the companies, we are the same as any world-class VC fund. We help you raise your next fund. We help with business development. We support the founders, and we are fair on terms. But everybody's the same in that. So how are we different then? So here's the team. So you've already seen me naked, so you can recognize me. The guy with the red beard is Margus Uudam. Then there's kind of Christian Laanemaa on your right, and the lady hiding at the bottom is Marili Merendi. So the difference with us is that we are the same, but we are here. And we are here not only when it's a warm spring day, we are here in winter too. Thank you.
So you just got going like last year, right? And you designed your fund and your terms, etc. And obviously you had to think about the next sort of innovation in funding. What you see it will be? Like, what is the innovation that you can sort of make your value prop even more better, in funding? We have the seed to like growth capital, all sorts of stages, etc. And you said that you're a little bit the same like everyone else, but better and here. But what is the innovative part you would highlight?
I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer to that. I don't think we are very innovative. We work hard, and we believe in people who have the innovation. We think together with them. We support them. To be honest, on the innovativeness, we really rely on the entrepreneurs and the team. So we are a bit boring.
Would you fund yourself?
Sorry?
Would you fund yourself?
Absolutely, and we have.
Okay.
But and I was almost tempted to fund more, but then in a venture fund, when you have a partnership, the idea is that each partner needs to pitch in, and then if somebody puts more, it kind of hurts the team dynamic.
Okay.
So.
Okay, but what is the most exciting company that you have seen but have not got on board?
Let's say based on yesterday's kind of presentations on the best of Baltics, I'm kicking myself about Taxify. So I think this is one that at least at the moment looks like awesomely exciting, and we didn't do so. But then Margus reminded me that anti-portfolio you only do the anti-portfolio after exit. So, but wishing the best for Taxify, but that'll be an embarrassment to us.
You are the only Finnish partner in Karma, and based on the experience, 7 a.m. this morning, you seem to be the slowest runner in the team. So what are you doing to keep up with the Estonians, or do you focus on some other sports where you are better?
Thank you for that. I'm kind of like the one who's like best on wine selection and restaurants in kind of more decadent cities. And it's impossible to compete with my team. One of them runs a kind of 3-hour marathon. The other one is a kind of like competitive in everything. And the third guy is I think Estonian or world champion in cycling. So. If I'm with them and I'm the last, that's already great.
Thank you.
Admire your honesty, though.
We're going to move on. We're going to move on with the
Okay,
timing.
thank
you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Next from Helsinki, Superhero Capital.
Thank you. No? Yeah. So, nice to be here. I'm Juha, one of the founders of Superhero Capital. We are a seed fund based in Helsinki. We do seed investments, like said, to B2B companies, mostly. We have 14 companies in the portfolio now, and we, of course, love all our entrepreneurs, as all the VCs do, and they say the same. Our rationale for investment is quite simple. It consists of 3 things. Number 1, you have to have big visions. You really want to change the world for better. Number 2, you have to be able to execute. We call it ability to do shit. So you really have to make things happen. And then the most important part is number 3. Because life is too short for 2 things: working with assholes and drinking bad red wine. We don't do either one. And you shouldn't do either. So when these 3 things are combined, that's our superhero. So if you want to become one, a new superhero, talk to me. Thank you.
So when a company is pitching, and what is the red flag that you know that this one is not a superhero? Probably you don't drink wine during the first pitching session, right?
It depends. You can. If they can't explain what they do. That's because if you're an entrepreneur, it's not a job, it's your life. That's what you do. So you have to be able to explain quickly, whether that's 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 hours. You have to be able to explain what it is. Why should I care? If I don't get it, I don't believe it.
You described what kind of superheroes you're looking for. Why should those superheroes choose your firm?
Choose us. Because we're cool guys. With us, it's fun. I can say all the same shit that all the other guys are saying here, of course. We're active and we're just dreaming about
so
you every single night.
So it's all the same shit, but fun.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
So how much shit has hit the fan, actually?
Occasionally. Occasionally it does.
And what do you do when it does?
We clean the fan. We clean the fan after shit hits it.
So if I think about like deluding founders to zero and doing down rounds, you have experience in that?
Well, not from the current fund because we're quite new. So we've only been active for 18 months, but previously, yes.
And your behavior in that?
We try to be fair as we can.
So actually was the kind of follow-up question. So what is your strategy for companies that are not doing so well? So what do you do with them?
You have to take a divorce in some cases. That's the nature of life. We all know here that half of the investments in VC's portfolio will not be successful. You just need to know which half.
Okay, and how many female superheroes you have in the portfolio?
Currently we have 3. We'd like to have more.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Very good. Shit hits the fan. That was, that was good. Okay, so next another VC out of Berlin. So, Andreas, you have the floor.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy from Project A Ventures from Berlin. We're an early stage venture capital fund. I'm an investment manager there. And first of all, let's just check the boxes. So we invest in seed and Series A, ticket sizes from 500K up to 5 million initially, and then up to 10 million per company. Our fund is in total 140 million euros big. And yeah, sector-wise, we're pretty broad. We do everything that's B2C, B2B. We did marketplaces, software as a service. We tend to look all around stuff. We don't like hardware and gaming too much, but besides that, everything is open to us. Geography-wise, we're also quite agnostic. We're based in Berlin, but we invest all over Europe and even opportunistically in the US. That's pretty standard, right? That's nothing special. What is special about us is our operational support. And our operational support is not just something that we say, it's something that we actually have. We have 100 experts on our payroll, and these experts aren't just the stupid investment folks like I am. It's really experts in their fields, sales, online marketing. We have business developers, generalists. We have actual developers who do the stuff. We have product managers. We have communications. We have a large business intelligence data science team. And these guys are incredibly great. And they are on our payroll, but they're working for our ventures if the founders want to have that. So yeah, as I said, they're really great. So for example, we have former CMO of Zalando. Our data science team, they've built up, I think, 16 data warehouses, so they really know their stuff. And yeah, it's really important to understand here that this is totally left out of the deal terms. This is purely optional for the founders. And yeah, we charge our companies, that's the bad part, but it's still fair because we charge them at cost. It's 100 people, and yeah, it's the salary plus the tax, and that's broken down on an hourly basis, and that's what's charged. And I think that's fair because people cost money. So our operational support, our 100 people, which is quite a medium-sized firm, that shouldn't be a self-sustaining consulting agency model. It should be a pure enabler to make our VC investments more successful. And yeah, that's us.
Thank you, thank you. I really love the concept, especially the data science and BI and development support. So,
cool. Thanks.
A little bit on the operational capability. So you charge from your companies you invested to from that service that you offer. And how long those projects actually are, and like when they're successful, how do you sort of rate that?
Yeah, so first of all, how long the projects are, I can't give you a good answer on that because that's so different. Sometimes we have sparring projects more on the senior level. These are like, this is one call a week or one call every 2 weeks or so. Then this is ongoing. And then, for example, if it's actually building up a data warehouse, that's something that takes longer. So one company that we've been, I think, the most heavily involved with is a company called KarmaVC from the Netherlands. They're doing exceptionally well. It's a marketplace for collectibles. And what we did there is we built up, it's a marketplace, so liquidity in between demand and supply is always a challenge. And we built up a whole liquidity dashboard that sort of breaks down category levels and price levels and see where there's a lack of demand, where there's a lack of supply, and then automated sales measures if there's a lack of supply, and automated demand measures if there's marketing if there's a lack of demand. And these projects that took 4 or 5 months out roughly. So it's a whole variety, but what we always tend to do and how we operate things is that we're not trying to replace anyone in the organization. We're trying to build up stuff, and from early on we try to hire people at the company or help them hiring that are taking over these projects, because otherwise they're not successful.
The next speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank
Project
you.
A.
Thanks.
Thank you very much from Berlin. So next we have Helis, ETF out of London.
Tere, mul on slaid ka. See olen mina, olen täitsa eestlane. But I've lived in London for the last 10 years and work for a VC now there. Very quickly going to go through the facts. VC based in London, investing in European headquartered companies, companies that are innovative and deliver sustainability. We usually invest between 2 to 10 million through a couple of funding rounds. The companies, I guess why we're different, most of the companies, they invest in seed. We invest in companies that are already commercial, have commercial revenue. Our team, I think, is the best part of it. We have 13 of us, 7 nationalities, so quite wide range. And from different backgrounds, so we know robotics, materials, energy, IoT, software, cybersecurity. The guys have 150 years of VC experience behind them, so that gives us a fantastic network and connection, and I know the other guys have it as well. But we think that's the key. We really work hard, and we will give you customers from day one. We also offer, we have a close-knit corporates that we work with. We actually have an Estonian company coming over to London to pitch to a room full of 30+ customers. So those kind of small things we do for them, and they'll have customers there from that moment. What else we do is small little things. You know, we've helped the companies open offices in Asia and USA, but also change from, for example, consultancy service to SaaS models, and also later on in the stages, if they need more money, we help and find them other strategic investors to come on board later on. I very quickly go through the couple of examples, because people always like stories. There's 3 logos there. E-Leather is a leather company that builds leather up again from waste leather. So very good for the environment. But I guess the key point here is that they were too early for us, and we discussed with them for 4 years before we invested. So it's never too early to come and see us. We helped them along the way because we liked the technology, and we invested when the time was right. Second one is slightly different. It's a cybersecurity company. A very English thing to do, but we met them at a football match. And they at the time were consulting big banks and institutions, and you would think, how is that green? Well, it wasn't at the time. After discussions of a year or two, our investment opened a department that concentrated on securing the grid and smart meters and smart cars, because the only way renewables and that sort of thing is going to happen if you make it secure. So that's what we invested. So we even created a green angle if the company didn't have one. And last one is flyability. It's a drone. And that's an also example. Sometimes we invest in an earlier stage company. They had only 200K revenues, but they promised growth, and we saw that growth. They delivered it or even exceeded it, and we found customers for them from day one.
Thank you.
Sorry, yeah, I'm taking too long.
So which startups should choose you as their investor?
Startups. I guess I'll
In 2 words.
In 2 words.
2 sentences.
We are creative and we have the connections.
Okay. So you have been with the company pretty long already. What is the most difficult situation for yourself in the VC world that you have experienced within those 7 years, right?
3.5.
Oh, 3.5.
I've been 10 years in London, but with the company for 3.5, yeah. I guess one of the other VCs pointed out, and we agree, we find that frustrating all the time, is to see good companies go. We want to invest in all of them if you want, if you could. But I agree with that point, and that's one of the toughest
you
things.
personally.
Me personally. I personally find connecting to people, for me personally, it's a new thing for me. I'm part of the investor relations team, and slowly going into the investment team. For me personally, it would be just connecting and talking and realizing, being nice to people all the time, and never say no. So you should do that. Yeah.
Are there any women in the partners level?
Unfortunately not. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here in this testosterone-rich environment. So, very simple question. What problem do you solve?
Well, we don't solve problems, we create success. So it's all about the growth.
That was a little bit too easy.
But you know what? We're going to stop there because we got 7 minutes left and we have one more pitch. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Pasha, where's Pavel? Pavel, Almaz, you have the floor.
Thank you. Hello. Okay. So Alma Capital is an early stage VC fund. We have an office in Silicon Valley. We have another office in Europe. And we've been operating like this with 2 offices for almost 10 years now, with a small team. We know challenges of operating like that across the Atlantic, across 11 time zones, actually, in our case. And we have set up a firm that helps companies that go to the US really scale and build business. As you guys know, you have VCs. Typically, you interface with one partner who led the deal, is on your board as your regular interface with the firm. To really help our companies, we have 2 guys, one from Europe, one from the US, involved with every company. Which means in the US, you get the best of US connections, hiring sales guys, marketing guys, whatnot, and building sales and marketing team, building executive team. You get the best in Europe in scaling, typically scaling R&D and other help you might need in the region. So I think that's the main differentiation. We're B2B software investors, investing pretty much in everything every VC invests. I don't think we're very original there. We have a good team, but I think other funds have good teams as well. So.
Thank you. So can you give us a specific example how you have helped an European team to be successful in the US?
Plenty examples. I'll give you 2 examples. One is example, of a company called Quick, which we did a few years back. Invested in this company. It had R&D in Russia, in Zelenograd, and the founder was in Silicon Valley. There were a few executives that invested in the company and were brought on board, but the company had a hard time fundraising in the US because like 90% of people were somewhere away. In Russia, nobody could visit them. There were like 5 guys only in the US office. For us, it was easy to do diligence of the deal. We were able to come in early. We provided them financing. We sold the company like in 4 months at 5x. And we should have taken Skype stock because that would have been 15x for us because we didn't take Skype money. Another example would be more recent, a company called GridGain. Again, a bulk of developers in Europe. A few engineers, founders in the US who try to raise money and build the team. We come in, we are comfortable with developers here. We bring in experienced American CEO who had 5 exits before that. The company repositions itself. It becomes an Apache open source project Ignite. And it's now scaling, like when we invested, it was $100K a year roughly run rate. We're looking at $40, $60 million next year in revenue. So there's also a reverse example, which I'm happy to provide as well. It's when the US company is looking for engineering talent to quickly scale the team, especially in hot areas. Engineers in Silicon Valley can immediately become very, very expensive, and it's hard to recruit a lot of people. So one example would be our company Hover, who now recruits, who now has 200 developers in Zhytomyr in Ukraine to do product development for them. So,
where is the worst decision you have made as a VC?
Probably not taking Skype stock on the acquisition. That would have been a good return. Well, another one, we invested in Yandex, and we didn't put as much as we could. We could have put 5 times more money, and that would, of course, have been very meaningful for us.
Yeah, last question.
Yeah, it's small world. I actually have visited Quick office in Zelenograd and a few years back, but any red flags you can mention when you're evaluating opportunities? What are the red flags that you sort of immediately know that this is not happening?
Red flags? Well, I think it's about people. We unfortunately were burned once with an unethical founder. So we are very careful about making sure we work with the right and ethical people.
Okay, I'm going to have to interrupt. Thank you very much. That was fun, right? That was fun. All right, so first of all, I'd like to thank the pitchers. Thank you guys very much. You each have a gift here at the side. However, there can only be one winner. So we're going to have each of the panelists on their own think of which VC, so each one of you can choose one that you like. And the criteria is a little bit subjective. Anyway, so let's start with Karolina. What do you think? Which of these VCs did you feel nailed it in terms of the entrepreneurial requirements that we have in the room today?
To be honest, I thought I already made a decision before Pavel, and to be honest, I changed my decision. I would give it to Pavel, actually. The last presentation was very clear. What are the strong points, how they have helped. So I really...
You're saying Almaz?
Almaz, yes.
Almaz. Okay. Okay. Rein, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, you know, I've been on the both sides of the table, so I've raised money from VCs and I've also invested in a number of companies. And as an investor, I always look at the founder. So as a founder, I would always look at the person that I'm doing the deal with. And I want to get to know the person. I want to make sure that this person will work with my company for a long time, and I really, really like the person. It's very hard to make that just based on a 4-minute pitch. So it's very hard for me to choose. I mean, obviously, with some of the folks I've gone running together, and there are, you know, other criteria. So I would leave it to that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
The last one.
If I would need to go to the hike on the mountains and there is a harsh conditions, then I would go with Daddy, Andreas and Pavel. But I believe Andreas will pull us out from all troubles, so yeah. Viva Berlin, yeah.
Which VC was that?
That is Project A.
Project A, okay. Thank you so much. 8 pitches in 1 hour. Those are some nice questions. Thank you guys for that. I hope the rest of you have a nice afternoon. And please, if you'd like to come up and speak with someone, do that.
Have everyone on stage.
Or let us know if we can introduce you to someone. That's no problem.
No, let's have everyone on stage.
Okay,
Just to
come on
see
up,
them,
you guys.
Just to give them a big applause and thank you for pitching here on stage. As said, we do have a little present for each and every one of you as well. Let me just start with Juha here. There's so many of you. I've got one for Pavel. Pavel. I can't find Pavel. There you go. I'll help you with that. And actually, you can help me with this.
Oh, sure.
Yes, thank you. I have Tommi here. There you are.
So we
Andris.
have Helis.
And Marzena. Thank you. Jan.
Okay.
And Andreas
Teddy,
again.
where's Teddy?
Yes, there you
Yes.
are.
Good.
And thanks a lot for the jury as well. So let's give them a big applause. Thank you very much.